Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is. Well, hello. We have a show of all shows today for two reasons. One of which is we're talking about America, and we have this case coming up with Eric Coomer that's coming up in July. We have some affidavits that we'll talk about a little bit later related to Stephanie Lambert asking for access because we've subpoenaed the information from the case out of Washington, D.C., related to Eric Coomer, related to Dominion. But for the last 5 years, it has not been mainstream. It has not been mainstream. We haven't had Benny Johnson and we haven't had other people talking about the election fraud. They'll just say, hey, there's this overarching election fraud. But there was never a culmination of events, a consolidation that brought things together so collectively. You had Smartmatic and Dominion and all these different organizations that were supposedly doing a public good, mixed in with CISA, that were telling us that we have the safest, most secure elections in U.S. history. And they are still parroting the same words because they have to, knowing that they're caught. And there still are the naysayers. And Peter Boyles, who, by the way, is a radio legend. He's been doing this since Moby Dick was a minnow, back when Jesus was a baby.
Board up in Marconi.
So he is in studio with me today. Yeah. And there's some significance to him being in studio. See, 6 years ago, if you would have asked Peter Boyles, hey, what do you think of Joe Oltmann? It probably would not have been favorable.
And the other way around.
And the other way around. Yeah, it was the other way around. But he had Dick Wadhams and a couple people on his show. And somebody called me and said, hey, you need to, Peter Boyles was talking about you. And I was like, okay, I'm going to call the station. So I did. And we had a reconciliation that happened. Only God can do that. And then that led to me being in studio for about 3 hours with Peter in studio. And we had a great conversation.
It was so good we went to lunch.
Yeah. And we've been hanging out since.
That's true.
And people would ask him, like, how is Joe? How is Joe?
Yeah.
How is this guy, Joe?
Oh, man.
Like, he's fine. But I want you to see this, and I want Peter to hear this as well. Because the dividing factor for us was the elections. And Peter's always been a show me the evidence. And there's so much evidence that we haven't had a chance to sit down and go through it yet. He's still a skeptic. But I think after seeing this is 12 minutes. Please hit the share button. This is super, super important. Pay attention to it. I went into the studio early just for this. So this is 12 minutes. This is the cut from Benny Johnson talking about Dominion and Coomer. Let's go ahead and play it.
In the single most thrilling development for law and justice in the Trump era, there was a raid of an election center in America.
There you go.
Good. This is the Fulton County Election Center, and Tulsi Gabbard was on hand to raid it and to seize all of the boxes of votes. And the bloody irony here is that they wouldn't have had any of these records if they hadn't prosecuted Donald Trump. They actually had to keep their election records from 2020. These ballots had never been inspected, and they are now in the possession of the FBI. Donald Trump, soon after this raid, said, we got him, we caught him red-handed, and it's over. Tulsi Gabbard was seen very mysteriously on the phone after reviewing the evidence. Who was she talking to? President Trump, obviously. And what did she say to President Trump when he asked about election fraud?
I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time. and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and review there very quickly. So the electronic voting machines are able to be exploited because they're connected to the internet. Anybody from anywhere can just change the numbers. You ever wonder why in these close elections, especially in South America, but in the 2020 election, that it's always 51 to 49? It's always the exact same percentages. When they wanted to rig the Senate elections in Georgia, 51 to 49. Both races. Let's just go with both races. Same thing in Arizona. Katie Hobbs running against Carrie Lake, 51 to 49. That's just what we're going to do. And it's the same thing with Spencer Pratt. It's always the same with these voter machines. It's like an algorithm that they just punch the numbers in that they want, and then they get them. Obviously, that mixed with unlimited mail-in ballots. This is the best headline. Had me howling yesterday. Trump DOJ struggles to show widespread voter fraud. Just teeny spread voter fraud. Just little spread voter fraud. Not widespread, mini spread. Look at this. Voter fraud in every state. Voter fraud everywhere. It's so egregious. The Patterson City Council president, who's now in prison, and his refrigerator dump of a wife were just seen going mailbox to mailbox, plucking out mail-in ballots. Yeah, it's like funny. MSNBC just telling you what it is,
with
right?
This system. I mean, we've seen this now probably for about a decade out there. It's those votes that get tabulated after Election Day. They tend to be almost always are heavily Democratic. We've seen this.
Why would that be? Why would the votes that get tabulated after Election Day be heavily Democratic? Well, I have video evidence of exactly why that would be. Here we have Hamtramck, Michigan. This is the only majority Muslim town in all of America. The place is a bit of a dump heap. And the reason why is that the moment that that foreign nationals got in control of the country, got in control of the city, municipality itself, it started being run like the third world hellholes that the foreigners were from. City Councilman Abu Musa on tape stuffing ballot boxes in the middle of the night, and then multiple other times he's sitting there stuffing ballots. He's caught on camera. Look at this. All they did for local news was just set up a camera across from the ballot box. And this dude's just shoving garbage bag full of ballots into the box. So anyway, the whole system's been rigged. It has been rigged. It's been proven to be rigged. Trump's doing his best to stop it. He wants to get rid of electronic voting, and he wants to get rid of vote-by-mail fraud, where he's shutting down the Postal Service's ability to deliver mail-in ballots to states that won't give the voter rolls to the federal government in order to check. So it's a felony to mail somebody a ballot who's a foreigner who'd be voting illegally in our country. So the post office is a genius move. Post office is just saying, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna engage in a felony. In continuance of a crime, you cannot use the U.S. Postal Service. Awesome. Something else big happened today. Whoo boy. Something we predicted about 6 months ago. You had to go back into the archives to find this one, where we said, we've been doing little phone calls with people about why the Maduro raid was so important. And they told us something that shocked us. They told us that the Maduro raid is important because Nicolas Maduro is going to sing like a canary because they nabbed his wife too, right? They nabbed him and his wife, and they're bringing her in for leverage. Nicolas Maduro was part of the regime that ran the Dominion voting systems and Smartmatic systems. Those are Venezuelan companies that were created in Venezuela in order to rig elections. And that's what they ended up doing. And that the more pressure that is applied to Nicolas Maduro, the more he's going to sing about how elections get rigged. And he knows where all the bodies are buried. And that's what we were told 6 months ago. And boy, howdy, President Trump, as soon as Maduro was black-bagged, started posting about Dominion voting systems, how corrupt they were, how they can switch votes. And now, what would you look at that? Dominion voting has dropped its 2020 election lawsuit against Mike Lindell. Wait a second. Aren't these the career-ending, life-ending lawsuits that bankrupted Rudy Giuliani and that Fox News spent $770 million on settling, and Newsmax spent
77.
untold millions on settling as well. And now Dominion straight up dropping their lawsuits against Mike Lindell, who actually fought back.
And it dropped.
The parties have agreed to confidentially settle this matter. Well, what does that mean? Mike Lindell said that this means that I win and they lost. Dominion Voting Systems dropped its 2020 election lawsuits against Mike Lindell, settling being reached between the parties. A brief document filed on Monday. The plaintiffs and Dominion Voting Systems, by through their representatives, undersigned counsel, hereby stipulate and agree pursuant federal rule dismissal of the claims. Each party will bear its own attorney fees and costs. Dominion ends lengthy legal battle against Mike Lindell. Ooh. Dominion sued Lindell for $1.3 billion in February 2021. It's now 2026, and he won. Lindell won. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Dominion agrees to dismiss it. 5-year-long, 800-page report. Evidence of fraud from Dominion machines will be released today. The voting machine companies are falling like dominoes. This is why I fought every single day for election integrity. I'm telling you, I just know too many people inside of the Trump administration that worked specifically on this question of how are they rigging the vote with electronic machines. And when the story is fully told about what they did and how they did it, it will break America's brains. I think I know probably 1% of what actually happened, but it is worth every bit of a Tom Clancy level, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, foreign espionage, spies, space. It's crazy. It's like a Bond film. Dominion Voting System drops lawsuit against Mike Lindell. It looks like the new director of national intelligence is on to something here. Dominion Voting System has dropped it. Fox News settled for nearly $800 million just for questioning it. That's insane. I mean, who's that sensitive? So here comes a couple of things. And if you connect the dots here, you'll realize exactly how bad, how down bad these guys are. Ex-Dominion Voting Systems executive Eric Coomer admitted under oath in a deposition that the voting equipment adjudication software and source code was being shared with foreign nationals. They could remotely troubleshoot Dominion systems. So foreign nationals could intervene in the U.S. election. This contradicts years of Dominion denials of foreign involvement in U.S. election. Ooh, what's gonna happen next? Significant findings from the new 800-page Dominion documents of the stolen election. Ballots exceed voters in 3 decisive states. What? In Michigan, there were more ballots than voters, according to this document. Nearly 500,000 more ballots than voters. Pennsylvania, more ballots than voters. Fulton County, more ballots than voters. Ooh, is that what they're going to find? Each discrepancy independently exceeds the state's margin of victory. Public Legal Interest Foundation documented that Pennsylvania distributed approximately 3.1 million mail-in ballots in 2020, and that 400,000 of those ballots were classified as unknown, meaning election officials had no record of what happened to them, where they were returned, not returned, counted, or discarded. Oh, very bad. Look at that. So is that how they did it? A mix of mail-in ballots and Dominion machines? New Dominion report confirms internet connectivity. Voter systems were not air-gapped like they claim to be. Voting systems also operated outside of these certified configurations in Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, Colorado, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Remember those states? On election night 2020, those are all the states that told you they had to close up shop and stop counting, right? Amazing. Way outside of the ballot error rate. Bad news, man. The machines were built and sold with internet connectivity, and everyone will tell you that is the kiss of death here. Seems to be long classified. Newsmax and Fox settled. I hope Fox and Newsmax file motions to get their money back. They were hustled by liberal media and by courts accepting frivolous lawsuits. It's true. You have every right to question an election. You have every right to. It's our country, after all. Not some Venezuelan software company's country. This was the level of tyranny that they brought us under Biden. Fox News should have never caved. Dominion knows that they cheated and didn't want to get into Discovery with Mike Lindell. Nobody ever went to Discovery. Isn't that interesting? Give Rudy his money back. Give Lindell his money back. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen. They tried to silence. The biggest voice is calling it out. Huge development for election integrity. Mike Flynn's one of those people that knows the full story, man. There's a lot of evidence racking up. Is it Nicolas Maduro in federal custody that's causing them to like wipe their hands of this? Remember, Smartmatic was just sold, right? So these software companies are now selling for pennies on the dollar to Americans. Smartmatic was sold to a Republican activist out of Ohio. Very interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. We'll stay on this.
Okay, Peter.
Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do this?
I want to do this part. Okay.
All right.
The 800-page report is accompanied by 4 other reports. So just so you know, we're not just talking about one report. We're not talking about one set of information, one set of details. He mistakenly said, by the way, are we live? Did you make sure we unmuted us?
I think we're good.
Put up the comments if you would on the deal. I wanted to make sure that people could hear us. We've done that before. I'd go in like 5 minutes. People were like, we can't hear you. So I just want to make sure that we're not missing this. So we have the 4 reports out of Mesa County. We have the Maricopa County report. We have the reports out of Pennsylvania. We have the narrative that the media has been told that there's no evidence. You haven't been able to produce any evidence. And I sat down with you, and your guy at the radio station I was a candidate for governor, which
you were a legitimate guest.
I was a legitimate guest.
Yes.
And
but you can't come back.
But I can't come back. I can't come back. And that's not an uncommon thing. It's not an uncommon thing for people to say I can't come back. Although I'm very good for ratings. I mean, I will tell you, I'm very good for ratings. But I've fought this battle for 6 years. I'm a system architect. You've seen my equipment, right? You've seen.
I'm impressed
the way that we operate, and I'm not crazy. It's not like I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I'm a nutball.
No, you're crazy as hell, but we both are.
Yeah.
I accept that. There's good and bad crazy.
But I mean, I believe in the truth so wholeheartedly that, Benny Johnson was not a believer.
I don't even know who that guy is.
So Benny Johnson's got, 4 or 5 million people that follow him. He's never been canceled, right? So he's a part of whatever you want to call this world of influencers. Came out of nowhere.
Right.
And, but it's never been canceled. Always walked the line. And he got some things wrong there. It was Dominion that sold to Liberty Vote, not Smartmatic. Smartmatic is under a federal indictment right now.
And the Lindell thing wasn't that what he said. And
well, no, Lindell, the case for $1.3 billion.
Well, Lindell has no money. You can't get blood out of a rock.
No. He does have money. He's got a company that's worth $300 million. You could say that he personally is net worth.
He hasn't bought any radio time. He lived on Salem.
Yeah.
He hasn't I haven't played or listened to a Mike Lindell ad anywhere, television, cable, radio, newspapers, wherever. Lindell's gone silent.
But I agree. And look, Mike Lindell owes me money, lots of money, like millions.
See if you get that.
I will.
Something in one hand and that in the other, and see which one.
Yeah, so I think this is the thing is that I'm not telling you that Mike Lindell is a purveyor of he was a talking head at the time, kept the conversation alive. He was not an expert in anything.
No, he had those symposiums.
Right.
And they took Tina Peters to them.
Right, the first one. And
then they put up the reward, if you can prove me. The mathematician proved him dead flat wrong, came on a radio show, and Lindell never paid him.
But hold on, he did not prove him dead wrong. And he actually won that case on appeal. He won the $5 million case on appeal.
The guy took Lindell apart. And Lindell,
Listen, I spent 3 years with Mike Lindell. There's not a whole lot you could tell me about Mike Lindell that I don't know.
I never met Lindell.
I spent 3 years literally intimately at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd fly into one town, do something that had to go down there, collecting evidence, doing things in order to make sure that the message was put out there. So I know Mike better than I think 99% of the people out there, right? And frankly, Mike is in large part his own worst enemy at times, right? Because he doesn't his instincts are right that the election is stolen, but he doesn't know how to explain it because he's not an expert, right?
I'm getting a bit already. People watching, sending me notes.
What do they say? What notes? Go ahead.
Just from a close personal friend. It's
a close personal friend that doesn't believe that the election.
No, it has nothing to do with this. It says the show looks good.
Yeah, I mean, look. My problem, Peter, is that we wasted 5 years that we could have had a beautiful relationship with.
It's probably the better that we came here. Things happen on God's time or when they're supposed to happen. But look, the whole what you just played was predicated on him saying words like believe and should and could. Those are, as a guy that went through all that experience in graduate school and everything, those are nice words, but they're not hard. What happened in that night in Arizona and those kinds of things, Rupert Murdoch settled. Rupert Murdoch, well, he mentioned, and it wasn't really Fox that settled. It was Rupert Murdoch that settled.
It was actually the private equity firm that settled. That is a large shareholder of both Dominion and in Fox.
In the Delaware court, Rupert Murdoch, who actually talked about it afterward, and they paid $837 million,
$787 million,
whatever the number.
Yeah.
So they were afraid to allow the suers into their email, and we have, I guess there's evidence that they were telling their own people to lie because his ratings had gone to hell, and Newsmax's ratings went over the moon, and Murdoch lost his shirt, and he at one time and Donald Trump were very, very tight, and that was a falling out night, the night that they called Arizona, and they had that guy fired, and they brought him back and said, "Hey, we're sorry we fired you."
Hold on a second. So I lived this life.
I know.
I've lived this life. And I know more about the last 6 years related to the election stuff in my brain than most people could fathom, because I've had to see it all, touch it all, engage in all of it. So with that said, they had the discovery. Fox turned over everything. Dominion turned over everything. The evidence inside of the Dominion locker that I've got access to, just the information they had would have been enough to exonerate Fox News.
Then why didn't they bring you in?
Well, remember, so let's go back in history and talk about the legal experts that said you can't actually get $787 million for a company that never ever even would have made $787 million if it existed for 100 years.
But that's just what happened with Lindell, and they dropped the case. No, these guys looked at Lindell. Lindell, they said, we can't get money out of this.
It was a flamboyant $1.3 billion. It was meant to have a chilling effect. And let me just, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it for the people in the back of the room. Right. If Dominion Voting Systems was legitimate, if they were legitimate at going after Mike Lindell for $1.3 billion, I would have been the first person they sued. But you know who didn't sue me? Dominion Voting Systems.
But the absence of something doesn't make it true. Lindell came to Colorado. Lindell, and I was astounded the kinds of things that Lindell said. As a reader and as a history buff, there have been stolen elections in this country.
Bro, the elections have not stolen since probably early 2000s.
Well,
they're fraudulent in all 50 states.
Kennedy Nixon was the case study.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, all 50 states, every one of the machines, all based on the same system, they're all fraudulent. The outcome and the people that represent us at every level, Democrat and Republican, they can steal elections at will.
Belief and knowledge are...
This is knowledge. This isn't belief.
It's belief.
No, it's not.
Look, there's a study of something called epistemology, which is the study of knowledge. How do we know what we know versus what we believe? And what you just did was make an epistemological leap of faith. This guy that we just showed was all epistemological leaps of faith. You have to go in and, like I said, Lyndon Johnson, who was known as Landslide Lyndon, you can prove that that was a lift. Richard Nixon was a lift, that Jack Kennedy stole the election from Richard Nixon, or at least came close. Those were ballot days. Look, I voted for the first time with my dad. We went, took me, I want that day back. I want what you want. I want a voting day.
Brother.
I want ID to vote. I think all this stuff, but I know this much, that there's a way that these people can collect, they can harvest, they can do those things with ballots.
No, the machines are doing all of it. The machines, look, we found a separate database of votes inside the system. They left all the records intact for the 2018, 2016, and they deleted and made unavailable and corrupted files from 2020, 2022, 2024, and then changed the law so you can't get access to it.
How did Donald Trump win that last election?
Because they had to take his chess pieces off the table. They had to take it. He can only run one more time. They stole every election around him.
They hate Donald Trump so bad, and they hated him more the second time than they did the first time.
Look, Peter,
and how did he beat Hillary Clinton?
Do you remember the whole thing with Hillary Clinton?
More than you know.
Okay, so let's go back to it. Let's go back to 2016, because this could be really fascinating.
All right.
First of all, fix my video, Ray, so I can sit up a little bit and not feel like I'm.
I mean, if it's a rig, why didn't they burn down Hillary Clinton? Why didn't they burn down Donald Trump when he ran against Hillary Clinton?
I could tell you why.
All right.
100%.
All right.
The system is designed to have what's called PID controllers. It's basically a fixed outcome. That's why you have Spanberger in Virginia won at 50.7%, 50.8%. Every election, it's like 50% or 51%. You had the 2 runoff elections in Georgia. I predicted the outcome of the Georgia runoff election. I predicted that literally before the election happened. Hold on. Because you asked what happened in 2016, all right? They anticipate a certain amount of Democrats that are going to move over, okay? And when you have to inject ballots, all right, let's just do it this way. If you have 7 ballots and you have 3 ballots, and you have 7 ballots for President Trump and 3 ballots for Hillary Clinton, it's 70-30, right?
No, what
Hold on.
No, okay, all right.
I need to take you through this because this is the science.
Just tell me, and five, and
but see, that's
how did he
Peter,
beat Hillary Clinton?
Because the defection rate of Democrats to President Trump, not trusting either candidate, but trusting him, was so overwhelming that they did cheat in the election. They did cheat in the election by massive numbers in massive states, but they didn't cheat enough. And here's how I know that happened, right? And I went back and looked at all the cast vote records in 6 precincts in 4 states, and I proved this mathematically. I sat down with Ed Solomon, we walked through it, we built out diagrams that mathematically prove that the impossible happened in 2016 and it happened again in 2020. Let me hold on, because this is important. If you have 7 votes for Trump and 3 votes for Hillary, that is a 70-30. Now I'm going to eject, I'm not going to just inject ballots for Hillary Clinton, I'm going to inject those ballots for Donald Trump too, okay? Hold on, I'm going to inject 1,000 ballots in for Trump. I'm going to inject 1,000 ballots in for Hillary Clinton. Now I have 1,007 and I have 1,003. Is it still 70-30?
I can't do math and I can't do marriage. I'm telling you, I'm talking about the reality of what, there's a wonderful book that I would urge you and everybody watching. The book is called Shattered.
Mm-hmm.
And I know these guys. I met them, spent a lot of time with them. They started out to write a book about the glass ceiling and how Hillary Clinton was going to shatter it.
Mm-hmm.
And they got into Pennsylvania and they got into Indiana and they got into Wisconsin. And they met these Democrats, these men who had been Democrats all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, look around us. And they said, we backed you up. We voted for you. We supported you. And now you're calling us racist and you're calling us all these things. And my son's got a drug habit and a Costco closed and boom, boom, boom. And you know what they did? They voted for Trump. I was in the Trump convention in Cleveland and with Chuck Bonnewell, myself and Mark Crowley. And we're walking around. This is again, my firsthand. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania with kids whose dads were coal miners. Honest to God, Joe, here comes two for real. They got the hard hats on, the lamps, the lights, stickers on them. They're coal miners. And they got the double knit suits on, and they're walking the edge. And I walked over to them, and I said, what's a couple of coal miners, Democrats, John L. Lewis. I said, what do you guys? And they said, we're here for Trump. And I said, why? And they said, because Hillary's going to stop coal mining altogether.
Yeah, but hold on a second. But Colorado, though, was a state that went to who? Who did what happened in Colorado?
Well, the Colorado delegation walked out on Trump. I was there when they did it.
Because they were for who?
I don't know who the hell they were for.
Cruz.
Why?
They're here for Cruz, Ted Cruz.
But they walked out. I watched them. They deny walking out now, by the way.
The Democrats and
don't
the
they
Republicans
deny walking out? Let me finish
Yeah,
up.
they do. Yeah, yeah.
Let me finish up.
For sure.
That night, Hillary Clinton, they're in the Javits Center, and Podesta's her spokesperson. And the Saudi Arabians have given her a gift that's a pixel television as big as your backdrop. And she's drunk. She's on her ass. And she's arguing with her husband. Her husband's yelling at her about stuff. And they had given her a cake. This is eyewitness stuff. Congratulations, Mrs. President. She picks up the cake and hucks it into the big screen that the Saudis had given her. And her spokesperson was, she was not going to call Trump and say, you won. She was not going to give it up. And she effing lost. And as Barack Obama made the phone call and told her, Hillary, you got to call him. And she's drunk and she called Trump. And Podesta walks out, and this is given about voting. Podesta goes out on the stage. Remember, they were all wearing the pussy hats and the next day and all that kind of stuff. I was there. She was too drunk to come out on the stage. She was too cooked to come out on the stage. And Podesta said, we're going to fight on through the night. She had already said to Donald Trump, you won, you bastard. And so they did all this stuff, but he beat her. He legitimately, hands down, beat her. For whatever, they didn't steal it. He beat her, fair and square.
No, you listen to me. You cannot tell me that, and this is where we sit, we will differ. I knew President Trump was going to win in 2016. I knew he was going to win. I didn't think he was going to win. You're sitting in the middle of a data room. I mean, this is a data company, right? And I bet on President Trump $8,000. I made 30 grand on that deal. And I showed up at the headquarters for the GOP. It was at the Hilton. It was the Hilton and on Orchard, right? And I show up and I'm high-fiving everyone, and I'm like, Trump's going to win. At the time that I walked in at 5:00 in the afternoon, nothing was closed yet. No polls. Every poll had Hillary Clinton winning at 99%.
Absolutely.
He had a 1% chance of winning. And I told everyone there, President Trump is going to be the president of the United States.
Did the Republicans steal it that night?
What do you mean the Republicans?
If the Dems didn't steal it, who stole it? Or was it just Donald Trump got beat?
This is a lack of knowledge on how the systems work. This is a lack of knowledge. Look, you're not the only one that lacks this knowledge. And the bad part is that you don't want to believe that the elections are stolen. And frankly, they've put up all these things, barriers to say, well, 60 courts turned them down there. And Murdoch did this.
You used the magic word, believe.
I didn't. Hold on a second. Because I'm a fact finder. I'm not a belief person. I'm not a pixie dust and fairy dust person.
But Joe, you just used the belief word. Believe.
You believe.
No,
you believe the elections are not. You use factual data that they put in front of you, supposedly, and they say, well, 60 courts have adjudicated and said there's nothing here. There's no there. You have CISA that says safest, most secure election in U.S. history. You have Chad Wolf that goes down to the DHS director that, by the way, wasn't put in there in the right way, but he's DHS director down in Georgia. You have the Secretary of State at the time.
I don't like these people. I don't care about them.
But my point is this. The bona fides are out there. The bona fides, the data is out there that shows not 1%, not 3%, not 5%. I can go back in the bona fides, in the facts, the artifacts of these elections, and I can show you that they can at will steal any election they want. And they did not anticipate the mass defection that they had
it.
and people from Democrats. And so they tried to cheat, and they injected 10 million ballots or 15 million ballots, and they did this whole thing because you can see it inside of the landing for the elections in all these states, but they didn't put enough in.
Let's quantum
They
go
didn't put
ahead.
enough in.
Why is the face of the Democratic Party today is the mayor? You and I have talked about this. He's the mayor of New York
Mamdani.
City. The Democratic Party is
The most stolen election so far this year.
against Como.
But you look at this, there's no appetite for communism in New York City. Like my family is there. My friends are there. Like I have data. The amount of data that I have just in New York, I can tell you the subsect. And if what I'm saying is wrong, Peter, if what I'm saying is wrong, why does every social platform have a minimum of 40% of every single person that's out there is a bot?
I don't know social platforms from a hole in the head, but I do know what happened in New York.
Yeah. There's no appetite for it.
Well, a SWP Trotskyist, foreign-born Muslim, on the day that Dick Cheney dies, becomes the mayor. Wall Street. We look. All these socialists are winning these primaries. Look. You and I find enormous agreement on a lot of things. But what did Jefferson Airplane say? Wasn't Jefferson Airplane, but somebody said, something's happening here.
Listen to me. You don't try to kill someone who's lying. You try to kill someone that's telling the truth. You don't try to cut the tongue out of the man that is lying. You cut the tongue out of the man that's telling the truth.
Listen.
They came to my house. They tried to do harm to my wife and children.
You know what happened to me?
I do. And I apologize to you because I felt like...
You had nothing to do with it.
But I felt like I knew what that felt like. And the idea of someone coming after you, I found mortifying. I found it objectionably, absolutely disgusting.
My best friend was murdered.
I know.
And what happened to me for simply saying no? That's the world that we live in, boss.
But I think that you have talents and you have abilities and you have an immense amount of knowledge. And there are guys like me that have put it all on the line, and it's not for ad clicks. And it's not, I put it all on the line because I don't believe the elections are stolen. I know 1,000% that in all 50 states, the elections at will are stolen from the county commissioner. It is enormous, which is why you need a system that requires one person.
I'm on your side.
One person.
I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Go back to the first time I ever voted. The old man, we went to William McKinley School. And I told you the story. I'm coming out of the mill, and my shop steward, Lou Alio, snapping it and going, here's who your union endorses.
Yeah.
And when we went to vote, me and the old man, the union guys with the sandwich boards on it, they were 100 yards from the polls. And I didn't know there was a Republican Party.
Well, and you could, they call it buying lunch in Chicago.
Yeah.
They'd buy you lunch, hand you $50, hand them the ballot.
That's why they closed the bars on election day, because of the Irish.
Right.
Look, the system has been, but it is, what did Winston Churchill talk about? It's the worst system, but it's the best there is. Look, who knows what the outcome would have been? What happened to Baby Bush in the Supreme Court when he was down to nut cutting time on the ranch? And I think the court that was his dad's guys, I think they gave him the election. I honestly got to believe that. I believe the Supreme Court handed W, which was unbelievable, handed him the presidency. I do believe it.
Look, we have the hanging Chad problem.
Oh no, I remember
correct?
all that. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So
they gave it to him.
1,000%.
Yeah,
and
I agree with you. I agree with you.
But the elections in large part have been manipulated in scale and in certain areas.
Right.
But it did not become so pervasive until you had the USPS that got involved. You had the CIA that was able to infiltrate all of the social platforms, the media. The number of people that worked for the CIA that then went to work for media companies and or social platforms went up dramatically in 2004. In 2004, dramatically. And I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20% of the people that are hired were analysts or work for the CIA that now work in the media.
I hate they call it the company, the CIA. Right. Legacy of Ashes is a a book. If anybody hasn't read it, wants to sit down and spend 3 weeks reading a book, read what the CIA did. I mean, they're horrible people. What they did. John Foster Dulles' brother Alan was the man. I mean, those guys. Ray Donovan.
Yeah.
Not Ray Donovan. What was Donovan's first name? Wild Bill Donovan.
Yeah.
He was a CMH guy, First World War. You know, Harry Truman's biggest regret when he left office, he said, I created that, the CIA.
Yeah.
It was his biggest regret.
Well, it's out of control because right now there is no head to the snake. You can't tell where it is.
They came into America.
It's funded by so many different organizations, USAID, all these other things.
Boss, I don't argue any of that.
But so that's where I get, Peter, that's what I get to when I say, listen, there's no part. I had this conversation with George Brockler, right? And I was like, I sent him a thing last night. I was like, George, you were wrong about me. Like, this is a guy in 2018 that ran for attorney general.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
He was up by 7 points, 8 points.
I know why he got beat.
He got beat because it was fraudulent election.
No, here's what he did. He red flagged. He went for red flagging.
No, that didn't happen until. Hold on a second. No, that did not happen then. It was deep in the middle of that happening in 2018. It did not happen until 2019, right before the 2020 election.
When he came out in favor of red flag, I brokered a meeting between him and Dudley Brown. You know Dudley Brown?
I do. Yeah. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners.
Cleanliness is Dudleyness.
Yeah.
Dudley's my boy. I love him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
We sat down at Centennial Gun Shop, all of us in the back, and I said, make a peace. And Dudley is hard. I love Dudley. Dudley's hard. I love George.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a story. And I've never told it publicly. We're at.
Well, you're telling it very publicly now.
No. This is a true story. And so we're at the. They used to do that big conservative thing downtown, and they bring the radio show, and I have to do it. So the Meekum auctions here, you and me in cars. I mean, bikes and stuff. So I know the guys at Meekum. They actually let me call a segment, to sit in a chair and call a segment. And a 1957 black Chevy convertible with red interior and a Continental kit and full all the way to curb white walls. This is my highlight. Came across the block, and they do a whole segment on the internet. I didn't do the cable. I did the internet. And the guy said, what do you think, Peter? I said, if I'd have had that at 16, I'd be a father at 17. You know? So but before I go, they came over to me and said, would you introduce George? Go introduce George. True story. And Brockler, I've never told the story, but it's true. They give me a handheld and George a handheld. And I said, put the mic behind your back. We're backstage. I said, go out there and say you're opposed to, you were wrong. You're against red flagging. And we both had our mics off. And over in the corner was Walker Stapleton.
Walker.
No. He was memorizing his ad libs.
Yeah.
And so,
question.
I said, and I love Brockler. I think George hung the moon. No, George a good man. So I said, George, go out there and pull back on red flagging because it's going to get you beat. We went out, he wouldn't do it. And I introduced him and I said, you know, mics are hot. And he spoke, he was funny. And we went back and I gave the guy back his mic and I went to meet him. But he had a chance and he knows it. And I said, George, go out and relinquish it. And he didn't do it. And had he gone against red flagging, I think he would have had a shot. But I mean, when Dudley Brown and his guys are against you, Dudley, I mean, remember
Hey, look, him and I got sideways. I got tied sideways with a guy, Tyler, that worked for him.
Well,
I was at an event, and Tyler, who then got booted.
They got in everybody's face.
He got in my face, and I was like, man, we can go outside right now.
Man, I know.
And Tyler backed down. He's a big guy.
Yeah,
he backed down because I was like, we can play anytime you want to play. Right.
My famous line was, "You looking for a dance partner?"
No, I mean, look, I'll be your huckleberry.
I'm too old.
I'm not.
But that's a true story about Brockler, and I've never told it because I'm telling you.
But he did. But listen, he was up 7 points, 8 points going into the night. I had him swiftly beating Weasel Weiser. Swiftly.
This was the election before that.
No, this was the election.
I know. I know, but it was red flagging that burned him down. But I think it was.
Yeah, well, he's talking about the Parrish deal that happened in Douglas County. Where
Yes,
Parrish was
that horrible.
Right.
New Year's morning.
And Parrish was directly tied to the sheriff in Douglas County, and it caused a whole lot of friction.
I know the story better than. Yeah.
And look, I used to meet with those guys all the time because you had DCF, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have these conversations. But there's this lipstick on pigs, so to speak. People saying that they're Republicans and they stand up for the Constitution, they weren't.
I mean, I lived a lot. I mean, I knew the players. You knew the. I didn't know you, but I knew the players,
Yeah.
and they come.
But I was a behind the scenes guy. Like I wasn't in the front of the scenes. I was a guy that literally just did data. I built models. I did all this stuff, and I stayed away from the fray, right?
Until
2020.
Until it's time.
Until they came for the businesses and they burned our communities to the ground.
They did.
And they lied and they used the same thing I saw.
COVID and all the stuff that we
Right.
lived. No, I agree with you. I mean, you and I aren't that far apart on probably 97 or 98% of stuff. We're not that far apart.
I know that if I sat down with you and showed you the election fraud stuff, the bad part about doing that with you is that it would crash a few things for you because of the relationships you have in other areas. But I'm just telling you, as God is my witness, and I know He is my witness, as He is my witness, I do not have a belief that the elections are stolen at every level. I have a deep knowledge of the entire system, and I know fundamentally that they can pick and choose winners and losers, that they have created themselves in such an area where they consider themselves to be gods, lowercase g, that they can influence the outcome of anything that they want. They can steal whatever they want. They can rob whatever they want. And they've been doing it for a long time using harvesting and everything else. Now they don't have to. Now they can make the election look smooth.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen in the next election?
President Trump's going to get rid of mail-in ballots, and he's going to make it so that the SAVE Act gets passed. And if it doesn't,
I hope he's right. I hope he does it.
Look, there's no appetite for Democrats, Republicans, or independents for what we're seeing right now. It's a false narrative. The Kyle Clarks of the world, the liars, the Antifa Clarks of the world, those guys don't stand a chance of surviving this on either side because there's no appetite for Marshalls and the Kyle Clarks there's just no appetite.
You and I, we can transition into what happened in radio this last 60 hours. But Clark, to his credit, is a ratings getter. Ratings are money.
He doesn't have ratings though. He's a one.
You watch what happens when this marriage of 9 and 2 and everything comes together. They're going to have 3 newsrooms.
They never renewed his contract. Kyle's gone, and nobody's unhappy about it.
I think he's worried.
That guy's been in Denver for a decade.
Yeah.
And I have more people that follow me and watch my show in a day than watch him in an entire month.
But that's the conversation we had before the cameras went on.
Yeah.
Why?
They've canceled me from every platform, and I still have more people to follow me.
What I'm saying to you is I can't say who I had breakfast with this morning, but a player.
Yeah.
And they shot iHeartMedia across the United States in the last 60 hours.
Or 200 people.
I thought it was 250, but okay.
Yeah.
But they shot him out of the saddle.
Yeah.
One of our friends,
talented people, Ryan Schuling.
Uncle Nasty, Brett Saunders, Denise Plant. Denise Plant's the nicest woman that ever walked the earth. Gone. Brett. Saunders did mornings. He was my intern. He did mornings for 29 years.
Yeah.
On KBC.
Well known.
Didn't matter. So it's
but
burning.
They kept Ross Kaminsky. That guy is like a talentless, empty shell.
But they burned but they burned guys down. Predicate. I know what they did because my mentor and my dearest friend, and I won't name, but everybody can. He quit the job because they would fly him into New York. They'd call him and say, "Come to New York tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
And they'd bring his number one. He'd go to New York, and they'd hand him a piece of paper with names and salaries. Go home and fire these people.
Huh?
And he couldn't do it. And so he retired. He couldn't. And I witnessed taking single moms. They would take them who did the log, and you can hear them crying. And I had my guy with me. I said, "Come on, we got a business here. Let's go. Get out of here." And because that was what they were doing.
Yeah. It's X's and O's, and the decisions were made in San Antonio. They weren't made here.
They're made in New York City now.
Yeah. Oh, are they? I thought it was San Antonio.
Well, no, so it's where the money market, where the stock is. It has to be a performance stock now. It isn't a radio show anymore.
But the problem is that they've made themselves a little bit obsolete by the fact that they're top heavy.
If you kill your talent, what are you going to sell? And so who knows what Monday morning on K-How is going to be, but it's going to be syndicated.
Well, and it's syndicated, and frankly, there's no appetite for local, which is why we have some pretty neat stuff to work on. We're going to take a quick commercial break, really quick, 2 minutes. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what's happened with iHeart and what's happening with the market. Because I think that, you know, Peter, you've been in this business a long time.
Too long.
And
and we're going to do it again.
Right. We're going to do it again.
Round
Just
the
so you
world
guys
and
know,
going round the world and going
we're going to
again.
do this again. We'll do a commercial break. And when we come back, we got lots of stuff to discuss. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter.
Oh, hi. I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Oh, our master bakers teach class every week. So whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns, we keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
Okay, sorry about that. Quick break. So Peter, iHeartRadio, the largest syndicate. You have Bonneville,
Right.
you have Salem. Salem just sold.
Yep.
So Salem is now off the table. That was more of an asset
They're still flying under the title of Salem.
for the moment.
Yeah.
For the moment. But private equity came in basically and wiped them out. Right?
Or bought them.
Bought them. I say wiped them out because it's going to take out some of their debt, because some of the debt wasn't purchased in this purchase. So it's going to change things. But took it private. Took it from publicly traded entity to a private entity and absorbed some of the debt, but not all of it.
And some people had advance on notice and they made some money on it.
Yeah, quite a bit actually.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I think the stock shot up to like $3 or
Yes,
something.
it did.
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
yeah. You knew something had to happen, but they had already spun off some of the stuff that they do on the marketing side.
They sold their music stations, and I witnessed some of that.
But Bonneville's owned by the Mormon Church.
Indeed.
And then you have iHeartRadio, which is publicly traded, has gone through bankruptcy now twice in the last 2
A
decades.
huge debt load.
Yeah, and they were able to basically restructure a lot of that debt in 2015.
Yep.
And then they survived it. They survived this kind of bloodletting and restructured it. And they keep restructuring the restructure to restructure the restructure, and not adapting. They adapt to doing digital media. Same thing that Salem does. It's almost a kiss of death when you push over and say, okay, I'm going to do programmatic stuff over here, and I'm going to try to still stay relevant in radio, but not adopt the radio stations to the same format that we do here, which is video, audio, big choices, right? I could run that company so much better than they did. But iHeart now is through this is another bloodletting. This is probably the third time in the last 6 years.
I've dubbed it a purge.
But they kept around some non-talented people like Kaminsky.
But they got rid of a lot of it. I mean, I think and not that I can second guess those jokers, but when you get rid of a Brett Saunders, or Denise Plant, and they're non-political. I mean, they're jocks, and there's a lot going on. I mean, but across the country, since I'm reading the trades, they shot people. Guys who were on the air for 30 years in Allentown. They shot them, took them out and shot them. Give them a cigarette and a blindfold, put them up on the roof. And that's it.
And they think that they're going to be able to use the asset for syndicated content.
I don't know what they think they're going to do.
That doesn't even make any sense.
It makes no sense.
Right.
Let me tell you, after billions of years in this business, Tip O'Neill said, all politics is local.
Yeah.
All talk radio is local.
Yeah. Okay.
And so now you put a national, look, the only syndicated guy that ever scored and made money was Limbaugh. The rest of them are fillers. I don't have to pay you $125,000 to do the show. I get this guy. He's in 17 markets. I get spots to sell, and so that's what they did.
Well, they prop people up that are really not that talented.
But Limbaugh was
Limbaugh was talented, and he was smart, and he was educated. He was educated, and not just book educated. He was
He
educated.
was a disc jockey.
Absolutely.
His name was Jeff Christie when he jocked.
Really?
He jocked in Pittsburgh, got fired 2 times. I mean, it was us. Yeah, you know, I have a dear friend that you and I both know that got canned. And I said, Sammy, when Sammy Gravano ratted out John Gotti said, I told you, never trust nobody that ain't been to prison. Sammy never been to prison.
Right.
I tell people in radio, don't ever trust anybody in radio who hadn't been fired. And I've been fired a bunch of times, and a couple of times get punched out, but it's okay.
Well, you also caused your own pain.
But we're a head coach. No, of course I did. But
you picked fights too, just to see if
sure,
it was going to
see what
end
they
somewhere.
got. See what you got. but you. That's what keeps the excitement in radio.
Right. Right.
That people tune in to see.
Is radio dead?
If it's not, it's on life support. I'm sitting forward now talking. I grieve this. I mean, I love this business. It's been so good to me. I mean, it got me out of where I was to, I was with my children on Father's Day. I said, everything that I got, I get from radio. I love this business. I can't tell you how I feel about what I'm watching. I'm watching a clinical, systematic assassination of what once was everything. And I don't know I don't know what's going to happen to the business. The people who run the business today are money market guys. They're not
bean counters.
They're not Lee Larson. They're not, these guys that really I revered, and the guys that they really were broadcasters.
Yeah.
And not put this guy on the air and just, and is it over? And Cat Ballou was one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And they bring in Kid Shalene, played by Lee Marvin. And he tells him he gets drunk, and he's got Frankie Ballou, and he's got drunk, but his gun's moving real fast, and he's become the gunfighter again. And he goes, it's all over in Dodge.
Yeah.
And he does that whole thing, the soliloquy about what were these cattle towns. And it's all over at KOA. It's all over at KHOW.
Yeah. It is a shadow of its former self. Like, you go up in iHeart, I would go up there to do interviews, and I'd walk in and I'm like, wow, this just it's dead.
I told you.
Even the sales side is dead.
When I worked there, we had 5 floors, including the basement. Now they're on 2. A wonderful woman named Jessica Farias is running it. I love her. I adore her. But she was out of town when they shot these guys. I mean,
she didn't know?
I love her. She's a really, really, really good woman. She's a great understander of this business, but it's all in. This is the guys on Long Island. This is the guys who are building homes in the Hamptons and sending their children to Europe for the summer. They're the ones calling the shots.
Well, all right. So iHeart in Denver, Bonneville still in Denver, in Colorado Springs.
They're going to have the Broncos, I think. Bonneville will be.
Bonneville will?
Yeah, that's an FM though.
So, but is it single syndication, or do you think they're going to go to more of a syndicated model where you have,
buy your own time?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Avs and the Nuggets and they have people that are
they're going to own their own. You watch the Waltons; they'll own their own.
Yeah,
they will. They'll take them out. They have the money. They will own a stick. They will somehow find a way on the internet, and they'll do
somehow find a way.
Yeah,
I think they.
No, I'm serious.
I mean, you got Anschutz that puts out the Gazette, which is total.
Watch these guys.
Garbage.
That doesn't matter. I mean, that's the part of it that it's like the theory when I got thrown out of there. I got shot. I got fired. But I popped what I did, and I own it, and I'm not okay. But then they thought, any monkey can climb the tree and get a banana, and it's not true.
No, it's not true. No,
No.
it's not true.
So
An empty shell is still an empty shell is an empty shell.
absolutely. I mean, I don't have.
But Ryan Schuling had one of the.
It's great.
He had the best show. Look, I would be on his show, and Brockler would send me a text saying, "They say that you're fiery." That's an understatement. And I was like, "Well, I'm truthful though.
Yeah.
You can't call me not truthful. I'm still truthful." So there's this group of people that have a problem that they don't want someone strong like Ryan who's not afraid.
No, I think Ryan got zipped because it was money. I think it was. I mean, and
I hope that that's the case.
No, I think.
I mean, he was the contrarian.
Love him. It's like my
But how did
godson.
they keep Ross Kaminsky then? How did they keep him?
They make a decision that they're.
Yeah, but
these guys
he
aren't.
has no talent.
Coach, these guys aren't radio guys. These guys are money managers, many markets, and they make the calls. Here's a list. This guy makes $85,000 a year. Get rid of him. They don't care. Like, he really. I mean, when guys aren't taking calls and it's talk radio,
right? Yeah, but you have guys. I mean, again, there's a certain portion of it that seems political in my view. Because when you keep, like, I watch a few radio stations, like I listen to your show, right? It's a great show. 3 hours went by as if we were standing still. It's like, boom.
And then we went to lunch.
And we talked for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Well, my point is that even if you look at that, you're 50 years into the business or more.
Indeed.
And you've done some amazing things. You're going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Everyone in Colorado knows who you are, right? And I'd say that there's other people in other states that certainly know who you are. But when you look at the talent level, like there was a couple people that they got rid of, that I was like, thank goodness. Like that person seriously does not have a lot of talent. But then I look at other people that they kept, and I mean, I'll take Ross as an example. Ryan Schuling was the 2025 Broadcaster of the Year. It was nearly unanimous that he was the guy. Every time I'm on a show, people ping me.
It's my man.
Right?
He's my guy. I like him. I took the moment he was fired, he and I had lunch. I called him up and said, meet me. I bought him lunch. Because I knew, look, I got zipped more than once. But when I did what I did, and I had it coming, and I was supposed to meet, and it was one of the great all-time sports teams when Tom Tancredo and Mike Donovan were going to run for governor and lieutenant governor. And they asked me to meet them at Elway's for lunch. And I went in, I was sat on the curb outside Elway's, and I'd been taken out of a radio station. And for 18, 19 years I worked, I made them millions of dollars. We took the Ramseys on, we took everybody on, we took on the governor, we took everybody on. And you know what? I'm sitting there because a guy whose job I saved, went and ran up, man, he hit me. If I hit you, you're going to hit me back.
Right.
That's how we grew up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is.
He hit me. All right.
So it has changed. And we've been having a conversation.
I saw guys punch it out in parking lots. I saw guys throw carts at each other. I saw guys holding the guys in headlock and hitting them on it and going in and doing a newscast. I watched them bring in strippers in fur coats and light their copy on fire when they're reading the news. I saw that stuff. I mean, the strippers in fur coats, that'd be a good story. I saw guys looking for guys with guns in their pockets. I mean, I saw what radio was.
Yeah.
When guys delivered flowers that were dead when a guy had a bad show, or they would take guys and they'd call a guy's a hot jock, right? He's got a 12 or 14 or something in the morning. They'd have the fake call and offer him a job in New York. It was a lie. It was a con. They go, no, they make a whole deal. Come to New York. There's no job for him in New York. They got him out of the market. I mean, that's where the guys. I mean, they were like, we gave away cars. These guys win $1,000, and there's 5,000 radio stations involved in one phone call. We gave away cars. Me and Bob Lee gave away cars.
I gave away cars on my show.
That's it.
3 of them.
Watch. That's not, you know, now there's a contest. You can win $1,000, and what you don't know, it's an 800 number, and you're involved in 60 other radio shows. We gave away cruises. We gave away trips. We gave away, be the first 10 people to call. We had pro wrestlers on the air. We did stuff.
Why can't we get back to that basics?
We can.
I know. Which is why I'm so excited to tell you guys that we're working on something really, really spectacular. And it's gonna be awesome. You think it's gonna be awesome? It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Oh.
So iHeart. I mean, I want to just.
But it isn't just iHeart.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why we've been able to survive the bloodletting of censorship is that we're everywhere. We're like a whack-a-mole. Every time we pop up somewhere else,
or you're good.
Like a hemorrhoid.
I mean, you're good, and you can make money. I mean, I've told you that great part of The Godfather, and the guy who's really playing Meyer Lansky, and he had that great moment. He always made his partners money. Hyman Roth. He said Hyman Roth always made his partners money. If you can get in this business and make these people money, brother, man, that's what they care about.
That's really all they care about.
And now they have so much debt and they've pulled so many con jobs. Even if you make them money, they're not making you money. They want to, what's happened to this business, a business that I love? What's happened to it? You see who's calling us?
Tom Martino.
Should we take it? Should we take the phone call?
Yeah, let's take it.
Put him on. Wait a second. Tommy, you hear me? Tommy. Let me see. That might be me. Let me remember. He's on the speaker. Tomas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's happening?
Well, you're live on the air with Joe and I.
Okay.
What's up,
All
Tom?
right.
This is a first. Can you hear Joe?
Yeah, I can. Absolutely. Are you at his studio?
Yeah.
We're doing a live shot right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who this is, he is everybody the troubleshooter. I always call him the troublemaker. This is
he was I'll be your Huckleberry. He knew how to fight.
Last Friday night we had dinner together, he and I, and we had this conversation.
Yes.
We're live and we're doing this conversation, and I don't want to get you jammed up, brother, because we were talking about what happened in radio.
Yes.
What do you think happened? 60.
Here's what I think.
All right.
I think people are panicking right now. The people who bought for too much now realize the properties are worth less, and they have a turning point. Either they reinvest and believe in the spoken word, which is, by the way, more popular now than ever before. But if they don't believe in it and invest in it, it's going to be a spiral downward.
Yeah.
You got to either make a commitment and go for it, or give up the ghost.
We talked about this, and how can you fire your best guys and then turn around and try and sell?
Well, what do you sell? You have to have content to sell. You have to have an audience to sell. You can't just throw anything up there and do it. They think money is fungible, meaning that, and I'm saying
true.
all of them, all of the broadcasters believe that money will be there, and then they just cheapen the product and increase the spread. But it doesn't work that way. You have to have a quality product.
Tommy, when I got zipped for what I did and I was your lead, how much money did you and I make them together for 18, 19?
70% of their revenue.
Me and Tom.
Yeah, I mean, this is
70%.
why, I mean, hey, Tom, this is why I called you before we got on the show. We got some exciting stuff we want to talk to you about. I'm not sure I want to tell everybody on the show
No,
what we're doing yet.
no mouse.
You talk to me whenever. You know what? I'm up for disrupting again. I mean, I've been a disruptor my whole life. I've never given up, and I'm not going to give up the spoken word. We have too much to offer.
It's my boy. We showed him, didn't we, Tom? Didn't we show him?
I'm telling you, we'll do it again, Peter. Peter, listen. First of all, This idea of retirement is bullshit. People want to be viable.
My boy.
People want to do things. We have a lot to say. People need an outlet. This idea of not having phone calls or not having, people need an outlet, a live, real outlet.
I agree. That's why I put the comments up so I can read some of what people are saying as they talk through things. And by the way, Jeff, I just want to be clear that I'm the one that got rid of the spam one on there on Rumble.
Tommy, we'll call you when the gig's over.
We'll call you when we're done.
We'll join Carl in a
do
second.
that.
All right, close.
All right,
Love
brother.
you, man.
See you.
Bye. Bye. There he is.
He's a legend too. And Tom Martino is he used to eviscerate. Look, if you owned a business and you didn't take care of people, he would call you up on the air,
jack you,
and he would jack your business to death.
People for fear of him. I used to threaten people with him. I did. I said, "You want to hear from Tom Martino?" No, And I went on the air at 5. I'd come in the studio 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. The phone would ring, and I'd answer it, and a voice would say, "Can I talk to Tom?" I said, "Put you on hold." I said, "Wait," and he'd
help single moms. He would take it to the mat.
Well,
like
he believed it. He still does, and he does. He's with Stephanie now, and we were all together. I mean,
all right. So just so everyone's aware, we have what I consider the NFL team of players that over the last couple of days has come together. And
let's see.
And Peter and I were talking about this literally a couple of days ago, and he's like, "I haven't been this excited, since I had my first date."
And even then,
but I want to plug Patrick right now. I want to plug Patrick real quick because then I want to talk about some of the other things that are happening in the thing. We have a studio. We'll do commercials for companies, and we're really good at it. I mean, we have PepsiCo. We got big corporations that use our services. But I got to say this about Patrick. Patrick is a stud. And one of them said, "Hey, we need some talent to come out for this shoot for an internet company." And so I was like, Patrick's like, "Hey, Joe, I'm going to go do this thing and shoot this commercial." Now, you met Patrick, and Patrick he fills in for me on the show.
I told him some of my worst jokes, and he howled. Yeah, he did.
So get it ready. It's in the thing. So make sure you get it ready. Tell me when you got that ready. Okay. So he did this commercial, and we've done incredible commercials. Like we've done a lot of great stuff, but nothing like this.
Watch.
Nothing like this. It's the best commercial we've ever done.
Right.
Bar none, best commercial we've ever done. And Patrick is the star to the now, and I heard he only had to do it one
first
take.
Cold read.
Is that true, Patrick? 1 take or 2 takes?
You get a first take, you're good.
All right. Yeah, not quickly. Anyway, it's uncommon. It's like being live all the time. People say, "Oh, they record their show and then they put it out there." Being live is different.
Yep.
It takes a different animal. Not everybody can do it.
Oh.
Are you got it ready? All right, let's watch this commercial. This is our main man, Patrick.
It's me, Tommy Midway, your personal internet attorney. Have you ever personally been victimized by big internet? Then call me. I'll help you get justice and switch to Live Oak Fiber.
My Wi-Fi stopped working and all big internet gave me was a bundle.
They just gave me a mobile phone line.
Wrap bundle phone lines? We don't do that here. I'll help you switch to Live Oak Fiber and get the internet you deserve.
Go to liveoakfiber.com and switch today.
I eat big internet for breakfast.
That's good.
Isn't that great?
It's more than good.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
But
my boy,
plug the team. Yeah. So I'll just tell you right now that if you need help, actually, I for fear of the radical left saying stuff, just send a text or an email to joe@untamednation.com. I will tell you that the clients that we do, even like the stuff we do for Pepsi, Pepsi has to use, in most cases, they have to use union talent to write their commercials. So they'll spend $5 million on a commercial. We'll do a full shoot.
You walked it in.
Yeah. I mean, this was, you should see some of the other stuff we've done. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, I had to plug Patrick because, they great work.
I don't know. We're coming up on time. I got to tell you what this place is, and I've been here twice. This is border radio. It really is. This is the stuff of legend that it will be.
Yeah.
There was a concept that was called border radio, and it was where Wolfman Jack, we were talking about it. But Bob and I, my mentor, Bob Lee and I, Johnny Rodriguez, and I'm a David Allan Coe fan, and David Allan Coe just passed away. And David Allan Coe had a song about country DJs and being in a bar and cowboys and hippies and everything. But he has a line in the song that says, long before, he said, Johnny Cash helped me get out of prison, long before Rodriguez stole the goats. And everybody was stumped at it. And me and the old man, we meet John. And Johnny Rodriguez is in jail for stealing goats. Yeah, this is a true story. And Johnny Cash is playing, and the sheriff went, and Johnny's singing in the cell, and Johnny Cash goes, the sheriff goes over and says, you gotta hear this kid sing. And Johnny Cash comes over, and Johnny Rodriguez is singing, and it gets him out of jail. So the song and the line in the song is, Johnny Cash helped me get out of prison, and he was in Ohio in a penitentiary long before Rodriguez. And as a song, as the line goes. So we're doing a show, and you'd have loved them. And we were talking about Tex-Mex border towns and the radios and stuff. And I said, John, what was the toughest bar you ever worked? And he said, I named someplace. And he said, this guy said to me, and he said, he said, John, he said, you got a gun. John said, no. The guy said, well, you better take this one. And that made the whole, Joe, you got a gun. No, you better take this one. And this is the chance.
Yeah, I think that we're in that place where we could build something pretty spectacular. And I was onto that when I was building the Frank Speech Network, right?
We'll get them.
And so we're going to do something pretty crazy. You guys are going to be pretty excited about it, and just think big, because it's going to be really big.
Really?
And we're going to have, that I heard somebody say that they don't pay for subscriptions.
Watch.
I don't actually want them to be a subscription. I want it to be a mixture of advertising. Imagine if you got all your sports, everything in one place. It's going to be great.
Final story, and then I got a friend calling me, and Mother Nature calls. So you remember, and you won't remember, but people that are my age will remember, Chevrolet would do a commercial, and on top of a pinnacle, a mountain, they would have a woman in a prom dress and a Chevy convertible with the top down.
Yeah.
And the helicopter would go around and shoot it. And the woman in the commercial is always called the promise. The promise is you buy the car, you get her. That's right. Which is nebulous, but it's called the promise. And so the old man told me the story. And so somebody came up with an idea about, well, we will release a condor, and the condor will soar around while they're shooting it. Well, they get this condor, and they got him up in the helicopter, and everybody's set to go, prom dress, car, and everything. And the voice says, release the condor. The condor could not fly. It was raised.
Oh my gosh.
No, for two. And the condor does right by everybody. And so there's a gag line that came out of the 50s and early 60s in advertising. And you and I are going to use it. And when everything would F up, somebody in the background would yell, release the condor. And they knew.
We're going to release the condor.
We're going to release the condor.
We're going to release the condor.
On the Venom. On the Viper.
On the Viper.
Thank you.
It's going to be pretty spectacular. Well, I'm going to let Peter go do his stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about President Trump, then we're going to wrap up. Peter, thanks for being on with me.
No, I owe you.
It's awesome.
And this guy,
And
your team is the best.
they are the best.
Oh,
yeah.
And these guys are like anywhere else they'd be in jail.
I think that's a compliment.
Yes, it is.
I'm pretty sure.
Anywhere else.
Guys, I'm pretty sure that's a compliment that you're not in jail.
Yeah.
Because you're hanging out with Joe.
Somebody come in and get me out of this harness, and I'll turn it over to you because we'll talk. But I got 10 phone calls I got to make as they're
all right.
climbing on.
So I'm gonna spend the next 10, 15 minutes. I'll talk to you when I get done with the show.
All right.
But I'm gonna kind of switch off here a little bit because we started talking about elections. It got pretty hot because, you know, I'm always right, and Peter knows I'm right. So as he's walking out the door, giving me the finger. When I got sent that post last night, when I got sent that video from Benny last night, you know, I've been pretty vocal. And so last night I was with Laura Loomer, excuse me. I was with Laura Logan. I apologize, Laura. I did not mean to even associate you with Laura Loomer. I apologize. And Tina Peters, and we had dinner, and I was with Apollo and Hibbins and James and Brenda, and we just had this amazing get together last night. And Gira, Joe is right again. I'm typically right. But last night, I saw the conflicts that can occur on our own side, and elections is one of those sides, one of those things. See, people want to believe that elections are not fraudulent. Matter of fact, they can't even imagine what it would take to build a system, let alone how do you dismantle it and make it so that you can actually steal elections. But a lawyer sent me the email or sent me the message last night. It said, Joe, this one shook me to the core. I need you to watch this. It was the Benny show. And so I watched it, and I came back and I said, there's a general fear of not saying my name. And that's how I knew that Benny, for large part, had to be associated with, he had to be associated with some sort of intelligence, right? And just how he came out of nowhere and what he did. And there's a feeling, there's something out there that's like this friction that gets created on Joe Oltmann. It is. I just said it to Peter. Dominion voting system did not sue me. Why? Like, I should have been the first person out the gate that they sued. The first person. Not Eric Coomer suing me, but Dominion voting systems should have, on January 7th, 2021, they should have gone to drop the boom down on me. I mean, it should have been an easy conversation. It should have been so easy for them to decide to sue Joe Oltmann if they were right. So why in the world did Dominion voting systems decide not to sue me? I would sue me if that person was lying about me. I would sue me, but they didn't sue me. They sued a guy like Mike Lindell, who, God love him, he's screaming from the highest building, election fraud, burn down the machines. He's saying the quiet part out loud. Most people know this. Most people understand that the elections are stolen. Anyone that's smart understands that the elections are fraudulent across the board. And that all the stuff we have are not anomalies. They're built to actually do the things that they do. But they went after Mike Lindell. They went after Patrick Byrne. And Patrick Byrne's a smart guy. He built a network called Overstock. He was the CEO of Overstock.com. Accomplished business guy. Took it public. It was, I think, eBay before eBay. He did great things. He accomplished a great deal of things. They sued Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne asked for it. Now, I didn't particularly ask for it, but I was prepared for it. When Dominion sued Fox News, I don't know if you remember this, but Fox News sent me a subpoena. We talked about it on the show. They sent me a subpoena, and they're like, "Okay, we sent you a subpoena. We need what information you have." I pick up the phone. I call the lawyers. They don't call me back. They didn't call me back once, or they called me and then I had to call them over and over and over again. I was like, "Listen, there's some stuff you should know. Give me access to all of your discovery, and I'll build you a blueprint. I'll literally show you what pathway to take." I testified at Mike Lindell's trial for 2 days straight. I have sat through more depositions related to Eric Coomer, Dominion voting systems, or anything that happened to this than any other single person. I have never pleaded the fifth. I just said I would not give up the Antifa kid, which he finally told me what his name was and said, "Oh, by the way, it's a pseudonym for a guy that was a civil rights leader back in the 1800s. I found that. I was like, "Well, you could have saved me $160,000. I would have said that was his name and saved myself $160,000 in fines had I not made the commitment that I would never, ever, 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 ever mention his name, and I would protect him as a source. I did the same thing for who gave me access to Social Post. But then it didn't stop Eric Coomer from creating this and his lawyers from creating this story. And first it was, "Well, how did you make this deal with the thing at the top with Google?" And I was like, "Well, I used the Wayback Machine," right? Because I was asked to. This is a request by lawyers. "Hey, I need you to the doodle at the very top of the Google about Eric Coomer and the fact that they deleted it." As a matter of fact, you could go back and do the same thing. You would get a different result because they wiped the internet of Eric Coomer. But even when Benny Johnson was up there, and even when he was talking, he wouldn't mention my name. Got all the way down to it, and he stopped. Clay Clark got sued because of me. The America Project got sued because of me. Patrick Byrne got sued because of me. The Gateway Pundit, OAN, Chanel Rion, all of these people. Now all of these people gave me a voice. They let me speak. 2 days I sat on the trial for Mike Lindell. And had I not sat on that trial for Mike Lindell for those 2 days, Mike Lindell would have been staring down the barrel of a $30, $40, $50, $100 million deal. Why? Because the jury found that A, I was credible, and 2, I was non-defamatory. Now, you fast forward to the case with Coomer, he has some massive holes to overcome because he then went and did other depositions that counteracted themselves. And then a deposition of Eric Coomer in a grand jury down in Georgia then became available that showed that he lied even further. I remember, this is the guy that ran into a building, wrote about raping his wife, peeing on her, making her bark like a dog. This is the guy that talks about being a radical leftist that laughed about the fact that an election building in Mongolia was burned to the ground just 2 years prior to him being there. Both of times he was there. This is a guy who went to Serbia and talked about Serbians having access to it, and that had a vast amount of information in the Patrick Byrne v. Dominion case that implicates Coomer in crimes committed. And we haven't even started talking about the system itself. And nobody would have gotten to Eric Coomer had he not been stupid and gotten on an Antifa call and bragged the way only Eric Coomer could brag. That's it. That's how it all started. And that you have a guy that's a system architect, me, who runs a successful business, never taken a dollar outside capital, was set to sell his company, was doing great things. And they're like, this guy, Joe Oltmann, he's a loose cannon. That's a nice way to talk about me. I mean, Peter Boyles hated me for 5 years until he sat down and talked to me. And yeah, were there things over the last 6 years that I regret saying? Yes. Yeah, maybe. No, actually, no. I don't regret how I felt at the moment that I'm out there saying that I'm ready to fight, because I'm ready to fight. Like you push the dog into the corner, and what do you expect me to do? Sit down? But they sued everyone that gave me a voice. And they sued them for defamation. They didn't defame anybody. They let me speak. It shouldn't even been a case where anybody settled with them for anything. Sidney Powell settled. Everybody settled. And now they took my attorneys away. So you got a judge, an advocate judge, who's done everything to try and step on not just put their finger on it, but step on the scales of justice with a guy that by any other standard would already be in prison for treason and or something, sedition, for stealing elections. Like it wouldn't even be a thing. Don't worry about it. Trump's not going to win. I made sure of it. Oh, I didn't say that. Oh, by the way, those Facebook posts were all made up. Somebody impersonated me. His own words on December 11th, I think it was, 2020. Saying that I lied about the posts that he then had to admit were his. And let's not forget that every time Eric got out there, he just couldn't help himself. And here's the deal. At the end of the day, I didn't want any part of it. I still don't want any part of it. But here's what I do want. I want the voice of the people to be heard. I want to get to a place where we have free and fair elections. There's a hearing going on right now, and my local counsel, who now has to stay on, who the judge said, you sound like a competent attorney, you can go forward. While the other attorneys in our case for Gateway Pundit and everyone else are trying to bifurcate themselves and say, look, we're going to go sit over here. Oltmann can sit over here by himself. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that works for me. It's not going to work out so well for you. How are you going to get me to testify? And it's because these lawyers in that case are completely just brain dead with the idea that somewhere along the line that they could separate. Had I not been and gone to the Lindell, had I not gone to his trial, it would have ended much different for Mike. 6 years. I'm the guy that everyone likes to hate. And you have people that say, well, you have this Trump-like feel. Look, I don't have the money that President Trump has. I've never asked for an audience for President Trump until recently. Until I said, finally, you know what? I got to sit. I'm not sure that anyone understands all the details. And I sat down with David Clements and I'm like, listen, what do you think? And he goes, I think you'll be surprised just how much information President Trump has. I think you'll be surprised. I think you'll be surprised at how smart they are and what kind of information they'll be able to put together on the stealing of the elections across the country in all 50 states, using these machines, using mail-in ballots, using ranked choice voting, using these black boxes in order to put people in positions of trust and authority who have no business representing the people in our country. That's the reality. You got crimes that are committed that they covered up. Remember that? Sexual crimes. Congress said, hey, we're going to let Epstein go out here, but we're not going to tell you about the improprieties inside of Congress by people in Congress on both sides of the aisle. I mean, it's a free-for-all. So as we sit here and we walk through the things we're going to talk about, President Trump talking about the things that happened in the election in New York, the communist, the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, and I've told you the Democrat Socialists of Americans and the CIA are synonymous with each other. The CIA is deeply embedded in every aspect of the way that we operate media, to the way we operate socials. It's all the same. There's no difference. But as we look at what President Trump's going to say, I'm so excited just to get the trial over with. I don't even care what the judge does at this point. I'm going to be able to speak at my own trial for defamation when the only people that maliciously prosecuted me were Eric Coomer and Eric Coomer's attorneys. And then they used the media as a beat stick, and they came down on me, and they came down on my family, and they made threats. And they're like, man, why doesn't this guy just step away? Why does he keep telling everybody to fight? Because it's our obligation, because all of the opportunity that I've been given, our children deserve it. And yet, what they tried in the poorest of communities first, they now have brought to the suburbs. And now the suburbs are just filled with crime. They're just absolutely just infested with it. And infested with judges who are activists in this activist judicial coup that we have going on right now, that has caused the entire country to be turned on its head and what can only be described as a sleeper cell asset push in 2020. And it's been going on ever since. But they were stealing elections for a decade before that. A decade before that. I want to play this. This is cut 3. This is President Trump commenting on the communist victories this week. Play it.
The endorsement of Zohran Mamdani means more than the endorsement of Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, they're going radical left. They're going really, you talk about the Democrat socialists. It's really communist. These people. I watched that woman last night. That's not a socialist. I know socialists. That woman is a communist. And what they don't say is that I was 16-0 last night. But mine were a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives, but we were 16-0. And if you look over the last 2.5 years, we're about 347 and just about 0. That's pretty good. But nobody writes that. But he picked 3. They won. They beat a guy named Dan Goldman, who's, a loser. He was one of my prosecutors, one of my many prosecutors that they used on me. Dan Goldman, not a good prosecutor, fortunately, but he's now looking for a job. I was very surprised to see, because he's a pretty liberal guy. When they go more liberal than Dan Goldman, they're really into Never Never Land.
Does this tell you that the Democratic...
He's basically saying he's waited and if you didn't read the top of it, go ahead and put it up if you would. I'll read this to you. But President Trump had a commentary at the very top of that video. It's just pause the video and then show you the deal. But he said he's been waiting his entire life to take on this communist uprising. And he talked about the loser that was the prosecutor. And he said prosecutor in his case. Eric Coomer was the one that literally went down and testified in Georgia to put President Trump behind bars and to have him indicted in Georgia. You don't think that through all this that there's a reckoning coming? We know that a reckoning is coming. We know it's coming. I want to show you this. There it is. The communists are finally making their move. I've been waiting and preparing for this for a long time. It's easy to be a communist. All you have to do is say, I'll give you everything. But that means you're taking it from others that have earned it. Over thousands of years, the ideology has not worked once. The game is on. Enjoy watching President Donald J. Trump. Here's Mamdani that goes right into it and affects hardworking individuals that are out there by announcing that he's going to give to somebody else. He announced this. Go ahead and play it.
New York, the Independent Rent Guidelines Board just froze the rent. That means if you're one of the more than 2 million New Yorkers who lives in a rent-stabilized apartment, your rent's going to be frozen next year.
You have to go up, guys. All right. So how do the landlords keep up with the maintenance, the taxes, all the other stuff? So they don't care because the system is designed so that those companies like Mamdani can swoop in and steal it. Take it from them. Remember, that's why you have property tax, because you're renting it from the government. You're renting your home from the government. So anytime you don't pay it, they're going to come take it from you. They don't care what kind of mortgage you have on it. They don't care what kind of upkeep. They don't care what you have to do in order to maintain that building. They're going to tell you that you can't charge them another dollar. And on top of not being able to charge them another dollar, if you don't pay your obligations to us, we'll come take it from you. They want to bankrupt the property owners and seize control of the property. That's not America. That's basically, again, foreign and domestic interests that are just retards and evil demons that are basically trying to take the best of what America has worked for generations. Go ahead and play it.
Through our new citywide campaign, Fix the City, we will focus on the worst landlords in New York City. When necessary, we will take aggressive legal action to remove negligent owners and property managers. And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards. Stewards that include community land trusts, nonprofits, or even the tenants themselves.
Stealing from people and giving it to other people. See, this isn't Robin Hood, though. When he talks about nonprofits, he talks about things like the DSA and nonprofits that have had money laundered to them for decades. See, they've been stealing elections at every level. Mamdani is not the person that should be sitting in that chair. The people of New York did not elect Mamdani. The people in New York did not speak. A fraudulent system designed to steal the voice of the people, enslave people. And then he says it right there. We're just going to take it away from you, slave. Hey, thanks for putting all your hard-earned dollars and time and effort into it, slave. We're going to give it to one of my friends, slave. And like most of the judges that are appointed by these radicals that were selected, not elected, the judges are going to just do the bidding of these people in order to steal what is left of the American dream. Private property has long been the kind of the cornerstone of owning your own private property. And they keep raising the VIG on the property until now. It's more than what the property sold for when they were built, just in property tax. Here is something that happened. Attack on private property. They don't respect the Constitution. They don't respect the Supreme Court. So here's a Democrat rep, Delia Ramirez, a Democrat from Illinois, talking about a SCOTUS decision that just came down. Let's go and play it.
Trump's loyalists in the Supreme Court have joined forces with him to deny immigrants internationally recognized human rights and advance an authoritarian white supremacist agenda here at home. And friends, it is shameful what the Supreme Court did today. The Supreme Court's decision puts more than 350,000 TPS holders at risk of deportation. Their TPS will be terminated not because of the conditions that made immigrants seek refuge in our country have changed in any way. It's because they do not fit Trump and Miller's idea of who deserves to be safe, who has the right to dignity, and who gets to be an American. You and I know that is unacceptable.
She's not an American, just so we're clear. Yeah, these are people that came here and said, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. And the system was designed to create friction between Americans and people that want to assimilate here by giving and putting people above the law. The idea that someone is illegal makes that they're above the law because they're breaking a law to be here, and you're saying that they get the exception while they push down and they persecute the average American. As Americans, we deserve the right to feel safe in our own country. We deserve to have free and fair elections. We deserve to have property by which it is unencumbered and that the government can't swoop in and just take it from us. We deserve to keep more meat on the bone than they take off the bone for themselves. We deserve to not have to pay 56 cents on every dollar, be regulated into the ground, and told that, by the way, slave, you don't own your business because we get to tell you who you can hire and fire and what you can do inside of your business. That's not a free market. That's a slave trade. And that, in essence, is where we are. I want to put this up here. This is, there's a pride march coming up in Washington, D.C. And here's one where they were debating a Christian and leftist, where the leftist then demanded, it's kind of a play on it. Let's go and play it.
If you're a journalist, why do you not have a name? Where's your name badge? Where's any information? At least they told me who they were. You don't have any.
So why should I have like a name badge?
Yes, if you're a journalist, if you're any sort of publicist, that's news. That's literally the law. You have to have that.
So should people have IDs when they vote?
Oh my God, I'm not doing this shit. I'm not. Yes.
I mean, it's a good question, right?
Go ahead. Tell me more about immigrants. Tell me more about immigrants. That's what you're gonna do.
So people need journalist ID. Do we need voter ID? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and like and share this video if you find that pretty interesting.
I want you to be aware of where we are. That everyone's talking about the stolen elections. Anyone that tells you the elections are good, they're lying. President Trump knows. Everyone knows. The DOJ knows. Everybody knows. The attorneys know. Coomer knows he's in trouble. He knows he's in trouble. And the people that are watching my show that give me the thumbs down, have their little buddies put their thumbs down, I don't care. The truth will set you free. I think you should turn state's evidence, go talk to President Trump and roll over on everybody else. Save yourself. I mean, Coomer, you're really good at saving yourself. Maybe if he rolls over, he can save himself. And, easy peasy. We're at this place right now where we're at odds with just basic dignity, how we treat Americans. Basic. It's the haves versus the have-nots. It's the take from one, hand it to the other, act like they're Robin Hood, when really they're just robbing the hood. That's the reality. They're stealing and taking what was never theirs to take. All right, let's look at some comments here for a minute. Notice how the Dems ignored the law. Yeah, they do. Will Trump Tower be the first building he takes? Probably. Probably. But there are no rules. It's a lawless society. We got judges doing whatever they want, making rulings that, frankly, are antithetical to being a good human. If you're in Denver, they have the America Fest or whatever that's going on this weekend. Nick Shirley is here. Laura Logan, I think, spoke earlier. Or she was speaking when we were on. Tina Peters will be there. So make it over there. I will not be there. I got a lot of other stuff to do, frankly. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. You can also see us on Roku. We've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be doing and a bunch of changes coming that we've been just discussing with Peter and others. So remember, go give us a 5-star review, do all the fun stuff, be the ambassadors of truth, and let me know what you think. I really like to, Mamdani is a jihadist, not a socialist, sadly. I would agree with that. Gammy, I would agree with that. All right, let's pray it out. By the way, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Lots of crazy stuff happening this weekend all over the country. To my buddy Mark, who's down in Dallas, I was going to get on a plane and come down there, but the stuff that happened, I will not be there. I'm going to take a rain check on it, but it'll be good to see you. Maybe I'll take a trip to Tennessee, tell you what we're doing. Yeah. To those of you that support Tina, keep supporting Tina. TinaPeters.us. Okay. Father God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We often say, Father, pray, stand, speak, act. Pray first. Bring it to you. Stand up. Speak the truth. And then act in that truth. We know that faith without works is dead. We know that the enemy of the people and the enemy of the bad people is the truth. We recognize that standing up does have a cost. And we recognize that not everyone has it in them to fight in this battle. Father, we are committed to doing what is necessary in order to get us to a place where we can protect and serve the people in our community, our country, and the world. To resist and push back and destroy the evil that has tried so many times to take over our communities and our country. Father, we ask you for guidance and wisdom. We ask you for stamina and courage. Father, we ask you to bless those that are in the fight and to put a special shield of protection over President Trump and many people in his cabinet who have done amazing things in order to get us to a place where we can even have this opportunity to save our nation. Help us, Father, that we may be righteous in the things that we do, But we may also be warriors and recognize that in war, a lot of bad things can happen. But we must destroy the evil that is trying to consume our country. Help us, Father, to be patient with each other. And help us that we may spend time in the Word, and that we may embrace each other as brothers and sisters and do what is necessary in order to renew the blessings that have been given to this country for so long. Father, I ask for these things humbly with gratitude in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. We will see you guys soon. Susan, good to see you. Jeff, good to see you. Chris, good to see you. Charlie, good to see you. Cammy, always good to see you. What did I miss at the very bottom? Frosty, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit, Frosty. Yeah, good stuff. Patrick, amen. Good to see you. All right. Remember, go and hit that share button, do all that stuff, break the boundaries, and wait for next week. It's gonna be explosive week. All right, take care.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew.